Kanu receiving an honor from the state of Georgia as a citizen. So I don't want to talk more about what it means to be a citizenship by honor in the state of Georgia or in America. So that is not the purpose of this video. I'm going to talk about the significance of, honoring Nnamdi Kanu as a citizenship or as a citizen of Georgia. Now, if before Nnamdi Kanu was, I'm sorry to use the word, illegally convicted, because the kind of conviction I see that he was convicted, I think I could say it is illegal. And disagreeing with the court of law is not something bad, because that is the sense of appealing a court judgment if you disagree with the court judgment. So I think I am very correct to use illegal conviction of Nnamdi Kanu. Now, before the illegal conviction of Nnamdi Kanu, because I never agreed with that conviction for 1 second at all. So before that illegal conviction, there are so many people who have talked about Nnamdi Kanu being innocent and not being responsible to so many things that was leveled against him, allegations they leveled against him. And if you are looking for those people who have talked more about Nnamdi Kanu, I think I should be among 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. I made about 1,200 videos. I didn't say 200 videos. I didn't mean 2 videos. I mean 1,200 videos about Nnamdi Kanu. What was I talking about? Like, what made me to continue to be doing video about Nnamdi Kanu? It's not because I needed favor from Nnamdi Kanu. No. This is because of the reality I know about situations surrounding Nnamdi Kanu. Now, from the beginning, I told people how I started following Nnamdi Kanu. From 2012, I'm talking about close to 15 years now, if not more than, yeah. So I started following Nnamdi Kanu. I started seeing his concern. He started talking about how Nigeria must be restructured, that this current, system of Nigeria is only leading us to doom. So from there, he started talking about terrorism. And he started lending his voice when Boko Haram declared that Christians should leave northern Nigeria in 2012, that they would start killing Christians. And they started killing Christians. Nobody was talking. Nnamdi Kanu became only voice that was standing for Christians in Nigeria. Even though he's not that a religious kind of person, but he started talking for Christians because there was nobody talking for them. And the Boko Haram were killing them, giving them ultimatum to leave northern Nigeria. So everything I'm saying is verifiable. So you can go and verify what I'm saying. So fast track to what made him to even come back to Nigeria 2014, 2015, when he was arrested in Lagos at the Lagos airport then. So when the coalition of Buhari and this current president Tinubu, APC and CPC started importing the Fulani militia, who are today called bandits, terrorizing everywhere, they imported them. So Nnamdi Kanu saw that no, this is a war that these people are preparing. This is total conquering of my people. He did not stay in London, broadcasting and he needed to come back to Nigeria. And he came back, bold, resolute, because he knows what is. That was what was happening then. So he knows everything that is happening. So he came back, he was detained, the legal battle started, and so on and so forth. 2017, Bentanyako granted him bail. So after granting him bail, they told him, don't, mingle with crowds, don't do this, don't do that. Nnamdi Kanu is not someone who mingle with crowd, but crowd mingle with him. So if Nnamdi Kanu comes out walking alone to maybe from one place to the another, before he will look at his back, he will see almost hundreds of thousands of people following him. So it is not possible for him to do without such, crowds. So because of that, the Southeastern governors sees his influence that this is a threat to our political plans in the future. Nobody's listening to us. They are listening to Nnamdi Kanu because people find hope. Like, if Nnamdi Kanu speaks, he speaks hope with conviction, with clarity, and straight to the reality on ground. He was telling them that look at the Ebonyi state. The Fulani is already in the bush that night, raping people, killing people. Nobody was talking. This is harmful them has been on that stage right from time, getting to 15 years. Till today, the place has been taken over. So Nnamdi Kanu started, being troubled about what was going on. And that is what is still going on till today. So the Southeastern governors proscribed IPOB when IPOB is doing nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong. Buhari said he's going to teach them the lesson they will understand. He's going to teach them whether a language they will understand, something like that. So then, when this was going on, Buhari was forcing the people they imported, the terrorists they imported, he was trying to force them so that they can give them lands all over the country. So that kind of Islamization of Nigeria was on a high speed. So Nnamdi Kanu disagreed. And he started saying that these people are coming to kill us. They arm them. We've got to defend ourselves. Immediately they hear that thing from him. The political figures, the powers that be, they are very smart. They use that against him by empowering people, buying sophisticated weapons for boys. They asked the boys to start, causing problem. And they were tagging the name of Nnamdi Kanu, ESN, IPOP to those people who were masterminding all those things. So that was the story. And up to today, these politicians like Opus Otema, they are the only one that knows what happened. The public up to today, the media projected it that it was Nnamdi Kanu and his IPOP. That was how the media projected it. Now, I am giving you this background because I want you to understand where I am going about this honorary citizenship, bestowed on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from the state of Georgia in the United States of America. That is to tell you that Nnamdi Kanu is just another Nelson Mandela that is coming to stay in the history and on the minds of so many people. This man is loved by many. When you look at what is going on in Nigeria now, people call him a prophet because he predicted it. And because of what he saw, made him to act the way he acted. And there is nobody who will understand what is going on now and have the capacity Nnamdi Kanu have, and you will not act like that. So Nnamdi Kanu acted the way he acted because of what he knows, because of information and truth at his disposal. Now, honoring this man as a citizen of the state of Georgia now sent a shock wave to the Nigerian judiciary. sends a shockwave to the Nigerian presidency and everyone who sees Nnamdi Kanu as their enemy because of his influence, not because there is something he did wrong. Okay, so Nnamdi Kanu today now is being incarcerated in Sokoto prison by the Nigerian state. I want to let you know that this incarceration is not going to be forever. There is no one on earth, apart from some individuals in Nigeria who have another agenda, that are calling Nnamdi Kanu a terrorist. This man is not a terrorist. I've never been a terrorist. His mission was to fight the main terrorist. Okay, now, where the Nigerian state hated him more, and including Britain then, not Britain now, because the Britain today is learning in a hard way from this Islamic extremists and brotherhood. So, before, the Great Britain then, and some figures in Nigeria who are benefiting from oil, gold, benefiting from this amalgamation of Nigeria, we are ready to do anything, including killing Nnamdi Kanu, just to make sure that he did not lead Nigeria into disintegration. They wanted Nigeria to be one, not because they have something good to offer to Nigerians or to the world, but because of their personal gain. But here is Nnamdi Kanu, a selfless person who is even ready to die for the cause he believes in. That was a great danger, a great threat to them. They seek to eliminate this man. It did not work. They did everything possible. So, they are doing all these things because of the idea of Nnamdi Kanu that we are not supposed to be in one country called Nigeria. Yesterday, I was making a video and I was talking about how could it be that while I was growing up, I was being taught, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. And at the same time, they were teaching me, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. They were teaching another person I'm staying in the same country with that he have a mandate to kill me from God. Why they are teaching me that God say I should not kill? Like, how can these two kind of ideologies stay in one country? How? It is because of the way I understand Nnamdi Kanu that made me to fall in love with him. Like, I like the man so much. I like him so much. I like his visionary aspect of his agitation. I love the man so much. No matter what you say about him, as far as what I know is what I'm saying. I'm not talking about what I hear, like what people say. I'm talking about what I know. So anything you are talking is based on your personal exposure. You can't talk more than what you know, and you can't give what you don't have. So I am giving out what I know about this man called Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This man don't mean evil for his people. He don't mean evil for anyone. What he's saying is simple, is simply the truth, because we cannot live in the same country forever with someone who sees you as a prey. They see you as a prey, kill them. They are infidel. They are not righteous. They are the enemy of Allah. Why my own is teaching me forgiveness? God wants me to forgive. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. They are teaching people that you should not forgive these people. You should kill them. Like, how does this it is called incompatibility. When I was in higher institution, there is a course we did, Principles of Nigerian Law, and they taught us some things about, compatibility of laws, that before a law can be approved, whether the law is a minor law or an act or a state law or any other law, it must be compatible to existing law. It must be compatible to the natural justice and equity, and it must not be ambiguous to the current law that exists. So I started asking myself, the dictates of Sharia is not compatible to the natural justice and equity. It fails in compatibility test, and it's not, it's not fair to natural justice and equity, and it is ambiguous to what we know as common law. So how come the law was also embedded in Nigerian constitution? How come we have Sharia law to that effect? So these are the reasons why Sharia law must be abolished everywhere. You can have a Sharia law because of what you believe for marriage purposes and so on and so forth. Not given in law in a so-called secular state like Nigeria. In your base state, you can't stay with a woman inside a bus, and you say you are in one Nigeria. Like, are you dumb? Can't you think? See, I am not against what you believe in, but you should be confined to a place where you can practice it. I also gave an example during my live broadcast before yesterday. I said anytime I travel to some countries like Egypt, I can make video calls with WhatsApp messengers in those countries. That is what the countries, want. It is the country's policy. I obey it because I'm in their country. But when I am in my country, you cannot force me to do what is contrary to the law and what I don't believe in. This is a clash of cultures, a clash of ideas, and why Nigeria should not remain together. I am saying this, but people may not understand what I'm saying. But in the next 10 years, people will cry had I know. In the next 10 years, if things continue like this, people will cry had I know. There is no place in the world where two opposite laws can go side by side. If the Sharia in Nigeria is for only marriage and all those things, it could have been, understandable. But not where Nakurawa, Iswa, Boko Haram, or the Fulani militias, they are fighting, killing because of this issue of Sharia. They want a Sharia state. They call you enemy of Allah, enemy of this, enemy of that. You've got to pay jizya tax. Like, how can all these things continue to be? Now, this is the last thing I want to say in this video. Nnamdi Kanu's idea could have saved everything we know today. Our military budget wasting money, fighting, soldiers are dying, everything are dying. Simple idea will save everything. The simple idea is this. Let every indigenous people in Nigeria go their separate ways like Yugoslavia and let them form their own security, manage their own country. You will see the utmost peace. But the people who want to Islamize Nigeria will not agree because they have succeeded 80% already. They have infiltrated everywhere. They have passed in the principles of infiltration. They have succeeded in deceiving so many people using media and so they have succeeded in principles of deception called Takia. They are already succeeding 80% in principles of Ahudabia, that is principles of peace deal. So, what else do they want? They have seen that there is loopholes everywhere. So they won't even agree for Nigeria to disintegrate because they are everywhere now. And the mission is simple. Nigeria must fall to Sharia. Sani Yerima, who fought to have Sharia into the Nigerian constitution, said it is the ambition of every Muslim in Nigeria to make Nigeria a Sharia state. That tells it all. That was a mission statement, and it is up to today, that the ambition of every Muslim in Nigeria is to have Nigeria to be a Sharia state. Are you ready for that? That was what Nnamdi Kanu saw. And Nnamdi Kanu said, I am not ready for this. That is his crime. I am not ready for this. My people cannot be subjugated. My people cannot be killed. We must fight for our freedom. We must fight to liberate these people. This was his messages. Peaceful protest, they shoot his people. And he initiated, let them start sitting at home. Anyway, you know, the more you listen to this, the more you understand more about Nnamdi Kanu. If Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist, the Georgia state in the United States will not give him his citizenship in the aspect of honoring him. So no matter how little you might see that this is not relevant, but that changes everything. This is all I have to tell you about this. Nnamdi Kanu is not a terrorist, can never be a terrorist, okay? It's a matter of time. We wait for his total victory against people who want to subjugate us, who want to kill us, you know. The greatest intimidation, let me leave this one for you, is taking Nnamdi Kanu to Sokoto prison. You people don't read meanings to all these things, okay? You know, they took him to Sokoto prison. Time shall tell, okay? Time shall tell. You know, the wings of Islamization and this barbarism, this mentality of killing people is not going to last forever. The end is close at hand.